Hello, hello. My apologies for the delays, and welcome to the very final moment of the Computer Science and Data Analytics Senior Seminar. If you are a guest joining us either in person or online, welcome, and thank you for spending the time to be with us. So today is a very cool, important day. All these students, 13 students, worked really hard to come up with something that will be the culmination and the crown jewel of all the education they have received here at Westmont College, especially as they're thinking about moving onward. So before we begin, I would like to just offer up a prayer. So if you could just bow your heads with me, let's start with that. Good afternoon, God. Thank you for gathering us all here together and online so that we can celebrate the intellect you have gifted us and to be able to celebrate all the time that all these wonderful students and teachers have spent to form and cultivate the vision that you have for us in your kingdom. And will you please bless this time so that this moment be just an act of worship that will be pleasing to you, and let this be a great starting point of how you set the path straight of all these students to bring about the light that this world needs. Lord, as we move forward, give us one day more worth of grace and mercy so we can be the salt and light you call us to be. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so in the interest of time, we had the two videos prepared from the students who unfortunately could not make it, Griffin and Gabe, who are actually out there hopefully winning the baseball game. So in lieu of those, I'll see if I can kind of squeeze those in at the end, but other than that, I believe Livingston, you're first. Would you be ready to go? All right, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Livingston. I am a senior doing computer science and data analytics. Today I'll be presenting a project that I've been working on for this whole past semester. My presentation has an agenda, so I'm going to start with a video, and then which is going to take about like 2 and 51 seconds, and then I'm going to move on to show some of the findings. Do like a very quick demo to show you how the app works, and then show you the findings that I did after running usability tests with teachers from different parts of the world. And yeah, after that I'll probably have time for questions. This is the video.
Today, we have incredible AI tutors that could change the game for education, but they're built for a world with fast, stable internet. What about students living in a world that still runs on 2G networks? A modern AI web app needs at least 1 megabit per second to load. On 2G, you're lucky to get a tenth of that. It's not just slow, it's a technical impossibility. And the data cost makes it worse. Loading a web app chews through over 5 megabytes. A WhatsApp message? Less than 1 kilobyte. For a student in the Global South, this isn't about which app is cooler. It's about which app is even possible. WhatsApp works. Web apps just don't. This creates a very human problem, the billion-user lockout. An entire generation is locked out of tools their peers elsewhere take for granted, blocked by expensive data, heavy platforms, and subscription costs completely out of reach for most families. The solution isn't to build yet another app nobody can download. It's to bring AI to the platform already on everyone's phone. WhatsApp. That's exactly what Playlab WhatsApp Bridge does. It's a middleware that connects the low-bandwidth world of WhatsApp to the high-powered world of AI. A student sends a message, the bridge secures it, queries the AI, and sends the answer right back. Simple, efficient, and designed for how things actually work. The engineering choices behind it are just as intentional. On privacy, the moment a message hits the system, the student's identity is scrambled into a SHA 256 hash. The phone number is never logged, never stored. Privacy isn't a feature bolted on at the end. It's built in from the ground up. On reliability, The system runs a dual provider setup. If the primary AI goes down, it automatically switches to a backup. And if the database is unreachable, it degrades gracefully, still answering your question, just without memory of the last one. Because some response is always better than none. Looking ahead, we're adding support for multilingual voice support, more custom bots that are curriculum integration through the PlayLab ecosystem, and we're open sourcing the whole thing. What makes this truly powerful is that PlayLab is steerable. Any institution can deploy custom curriculum-grounded bots accessible over WhatsApp, built around their students' language, syllabus, and world. The bridge was never just about bandwidth. It was always about belonging. And for the first time, the billion students who were locked out now have a key.
Thank you so much. That's the video. I'm going to use this time to kind of like do a very quick demo and also explain the power of PlayLab that we're using, which is very different from a general purpose LLM. So PlayLab is an ecosystem that gives you a way to create custom chatbots. So you can imagine if you're a teacher, you want like a tutor for your students. So what you do, you go to PlayLab, you just create very custom chatbots that's grounded on like the content. So here I reference the material, it retrieves the content and then gives responses that are grounded to the content of the material you're using. So what my app does, it pulls from PlayLab and gives you a way to talk to any specific chatbot that you've created through PlayLab. So if I do something like /bots, my app is going to pull all the bots that we've integrated into WhatsApp, and then it's going to show you the bots that are available that you can be able to use. So for example, these are bots that I've created for fun to kind of like demo what you're able to do with my tool pretty much. And so if I do a command of like switch AI or not. So what the app does, it goes to that custom bot that you created through PlayLab, and then you can start talking to it. And the beauty is it's grounded to the way that the teacher wants the students, the kind of answer that the professor wants the students to get. So a lot of temptations that we have with general purpose AI is that if you go and you want it to tutor you, it's always going to be tempting to give you the answers, even if you kind of like do a prompt system prompt where you're like, oh, never give me a response, but that a professor has a chance to kind of do that themselves, ground it to the curriculum, and then students can be able to use. And so after building this app, I worked with a professor who was mentoring me to kind of connect me with professors from Rwanda that she's been training through the AI training program that the MIT is running. And we were able to have a number of professors interact with it. And in my presentation, these slides, I'm going to show some of the things that we found. The first thing was that at least like almost everyone gave this 5-star. They think that it's a tool that would be very helpful because it's grounded, it gives responses that are not general. And also, like one of the things that we struggled as we were building was the speed, because it has to do a lot of API calls. There was a tendency for a response to come after like 5 seconds or maybe 30 seconds. So we found a way to kind of like mitigate that and integrate some of the features that come with WhatsApp, like the 3 dots when it's waiting for a response, which we did not have initially. Other thing that was kind of still that we're going to work on in the future is like the / commands, which is not user friendly for someone who's not used with to things that are / commands. So we're planning to kind of like integrate something that's going to work and be more user friendly, which is the feedback that we got from the professors. They were like, oh, / command is always not reliable, especially if you type the wrong name for the WhatsApp. Other findings that we had were really like the professors really interested. We got good feedback of like the professors would actually want to use this. And so these are the future hopes that we have. So 11 Lab, which is like a voice AI today, like has partnered with WhatsApp, which gives us an advantage that we can now integrate voice to text to voice integration into our tool. Another thing, for now, we saw that we only have 4 custom chatbots that are available. Like, the beauty of this app is that you can easily make as many chatbots that are custom that you want. And all you do is you add them into environment variable as a developer, and then people can access them. Like, some of the visuals of the responses that we got when we did the test, they're here. You can see most of the teachers that were using it they were the lower primary teachers, and some of the other findings were the commands were very clear, no issue, but also like 25% they got confused with the commands, and another 33% of people thought that it was very clear. Because part of the things that you don't see when I interact with it, we have the default bot that you land on as a first-time user is a guide bot that tells you exactly how the app works. So if I do /guide, it tells me how the app works, and this is by default. If you're the first-time user using the app, this is what's going to tell you. And so because of that, teachers found it very helpful to pretty much kind of like do this. Other than that, I think I'm open for questions on the technical aspect, on the future integration, on anything really. Yeah.
When you were having others testing it yourself,
Yeah. So that's. Yeah. First of all, this is really cool. I dig it. Secondly, when you were when you were testing this, bringing it to others, using it yourself, did you ever test it in low data environments, or was it just whatever was convenient?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I was testing the lead in the US, it's very hard. So to know that, oh, this is a low bandwidth region. But the teachers that we worked with who are in Rwanda, like, you can see this is me pretty much like talking to them and asking them to take tests. They live in 2G networks. Like, Rwanda is primarily 4G, but a lot of rural areas, they are like 2G, 3G. And so when they tested, the feedback, the reason why they're useful, there were people who are actually living in those realities, and they still have the positive feedback. So if you see on the response of the speed, you can see they still think that it was fast, even though they had like low internet. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Haley. I am a data analytics major. I'm just going to start off with
lot of browsing sessions start with a clear purpose, but it's easy for them to drift far beyond what you originally planned. Screen Time Momentum is a Chrome extension designed to help users understand how their browsing actually unfolds. Sessions can be started manually through the dashboard or the pop-up, or automatically after inactivity when browsing continues. The overview page gives a quick summary of the current session, including time spent, goal progress, and recent activity. The analytics page goes a step further by turning browsing data into more useful feedback for the user. It includes AI-generated insights, an AI assistant that answers questions about browsing behavior, and a digital footprint map that shows how browsing usually flows from one site to another. Users can track their browsing history through the Today page, which focuses on daily activity, as well as on the History page, which makes it possible to look back across previous sessions, rename them, and search or filter through session history, making it easier to review browsing patterns over a longer period of time. When a session reaches its intended duration, the extension prompts the user to either extend the session intentionally or end it. The user can also provide a reason for why the session went over time. That decision is then reflected back in the dashboard, where the original goal, extension, and session outcomes become part of the session record. Screen Time Momentum, track sessions, set goals, reveal patterns.
Okay, so if you missed it, my project is basically a Chrome extension that helps users manage browsing sessions more intentionally through like goals and analytics and like AI insights and warnings. So why this project? Time to get my assignment done. It's only take around 30 minutes. I'll start my assignment once the video ends. And then 5 hours later, I wish I got this done sooner. So I was kind of inspired to work on this project after noticing how often I lose track of time. Times to be a big procrastinator, and when there's something that like I'm really dreading doing, I like to tell myself that I'm going to do it in that moment, but I kind of end up doing everything else to avoid it and getting distracted. So part of my motivation for this project also came from the fact that most screen time tools only care about the totals and recaps, and they'll often tell you how long you spent on a specific app, but my tool uses the metrics to kind of structure sessions with set start and end boundaries and analyze patterns within those sessions. So I wanted to create a more insightful and intentional way to manage screen time and build something that does more than just track time. So I basically went through a demo during the video, but I'll go a bit more in depth on how this extension actually works and its features. So once you start browsing, there'll be a pop-up that appears, and you can set your goal for the session. You have the option to name your session and set a specific goal or browse with no goal. And then if you set a goal, these goal set sessions have an overrun risk that's shown in the pop-up. It basically tells you how likely you are to exceed your goal based on previous habits. And then once your session goes over a goal, there will be another pop-up that appears asking if you want to extend your session or end it, and also a reason. And then all your information is stored in the dashboard, and you can see your previous sessions, goals you set, how long you extended it, how your session ended, and more. And then the extension also uses notifications to surface important events so that the user doesn't have to constantly check the dashboard. And it helps users know when there's a certain time, when they're a certain time into their session, when they're about to reach a goal, or when their session needs attention. On the technical side, the extension is built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There's a background script that runs behind the scenes quietly the whole time, watching for activity and managing the session state. The analytics engine, which tracks your history across session, takes all that data and turns it into something meaningful. All of the data lives locally in your Chrome storage, so you don't need an account. There's nothing set anywhere. It's all on your device. And then there's the AI piece, which I built a small Python backend that's hosted on Render that kind of handles like all the smarter stuff like scoring your risk or surfacing insights. And then the session logic handles edge cases like locking your screen if your computer falls asleep, or just closing the browser mid-session. Future work, so my extension's currently published on the Chrome store. So looking ahead, if I were to continue working on this, I would like to improve the accuracy of the session tracking, especially for the edge cases where user behavior is kind of hard to capture. I'd also like to focus on making the AI features faster and more reliable. Also, for the notifications, I have an idea to kind of expand the notifications, possibly adding more or just allowing users to create personalized ones. And then I would keep fixing smaller UI issues just to make the experience feel smoother overall. And then just continue testing with more users so I can keep refining the project based on real feedback. What did I learn? One of the biggest things that I learned from this project was how much of the process is really just about refining. And a lot of the progress came from making something work, testing it, finding issues and noticing what fell off, and then kind of just improving it again and keep going through that cycle. I also learned how to connect different parts of a system and making sure they all work together as one, specifically the front end, back end, and API, and kind of just combining them all into one. Another takeaway that I had was balancing the technical side of the project with the user experience, because a feature isn't really successful if it doesn't make sense to the user. And also, I also learned how important it is to handle edge cases in real-world user behavior, since real users do unexpected things and don't always follow the clean, expected path. Even when I was testing this tool, I found myself using it more like a real user than a control tester, and because of that, it helped me catch a lot of issues that I probably wouldn't have noticed otherwise. Yeah, and this is pretty much the end of my Westmont experience as a senior, so I just want to give a big thank you to everyone who supported me, friends, family, and classmates, basketball teammates, coaches and professors. Everyone here has made my experience and has shaped it in a meaningful way, and I'm just incredibly grateful for the impact that they've had on me and all the memories. So thank you.
Thank you, Bailey. Are there any questions? Yes, Lisa.
Well, first of all, that was a great presentation, and I, for myself, can totally relate to that because I'm also a big procrastinator. And I was curious, in your refining and testing portion, was there any sort of error that you feel like kept coming up where you were like, or where it got stuck on?
Yeah, when I was testing it, I was trying to play around with the inactivity threshold. So like at first the inactivity was kind of just based on tab switches. But then I noticed like if you're on a page and you're like reading or watching a video or something, it would end the session because it would say that you're on a page for like the inactivity threshold, and then it would just end it. So I had to balance. I kind of implemented like using the cursor as an inactivity. So if you're not like moving the cursor, if you're not clicking around the page, then that would be considered inactivity. So that kind of gave me a bit of trouble.
What were some of the edge cases that you ran into as people started using it and did weird things?
Yeah. When I released it, Mike actually tested it, and he said that he has a very short sleep window or something like that, where his computer like goes to sleep like after 1 minute, and then my extension would then stop your session. But he said like, oh, he would just like go to the bathroom or something. So I kind of had to change that lock sleep period to be adjustable for the user, just so that like they can have some grace when it comes to like ending sessions and continuing them. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Bailey.
All right, wonderful. Hello, everyone. My name is Brevin. I'm also a senior, and my project is called Rocket Coach. Who here knows of or has played the game Rocket League before? That's a lot more than I actually thought it would be. Wow. Okay, well, for those who don't know, I have a little video to play beforehand.
Rocket League is a video game that is essentially soccer, but with cars. With such a fun concept, people can't really take this game that seriously, right? Wrong.
And that is the competitive gap that inspired me to create Rocket Coach. Rocket League is very easy to understand at face value, but once you actually try to improve and take it seriously, it gets very difficult. My project is focused on helping players turn their replay data into clear feedback and targeted practice. So the first main problem with this is the feedback loop. The feedback loop is messy. Players have access to their replays, but the replay itself doesn't explain what actually went wrong. You might know that you lost or won, but not whether the real issue was your positioning, boost management, recoveries, aerial control, or just decision making. So improvement often becomes a lot of guessing. Rocket Coach is built around creating a cleaner feedback loop. A player uploads a replay, the system analyzes what happened, identifies important key moments, and then turns those findings into practice recommendations. The idea is that each replay should give a player a more specific next step for improving. So there's a few main pieces here in the project. It parses replays, grades mechanical events, shows key moments through a 3D visualizer, tracks replay history, and connects weaknesses to trainings. I want it to feel less like a plain static dashboard and more like an actual coaching workflow. My two favorite parts personally are the mechanic grading and local bridge. For the mechanic grading, the system looks at patterns in the replay data, things like positioning, boost usage, recoveries, touches, goals, and timings around specific events. It uses that context to identify moments that suggest a specific weakness instead of just giving a generic score. The local bridge is one of the more interesting parts because it connects the web dashboard, back to an actual Rocket League training environment. So instead of the dashboard only saying you struggle with this mechanic, the goal is for it to help launch a targeted practice session based on that weakness against a bot that is hard-coded for that specific mechanic to help you train. That makes the project feel more like a full coaching loop instead of just a simple analysis tool. So now going to the system flow and technology stack. The system starts out with a Rocket League replay file. Rocket Coach uses RRocket, which is a public library, to convert the raw replay into JSON. Then a Python backend processes that data and stores the results in SQLite. The dashboard is built using React, TypeScript, and Vite, and Docker helps package the replay and gateway services. And I also use AWS's Cognito for the authentication process as well. So this is the overview page, which kind of acts as the player's starting point. On the left side, Rocket Coach shows the mechanic recommendations. Right now it's showing the tutorial, which is important because it turns the analysis into something more practical. On the right side, it shows the latest replay result, and right below that, there's a generic progress trend so the player can see quickly whether their performance, their game improvements is moving in the right direction. This is the replay page. This is my favorite page. Here users can upload a replay from their Rocket League replay folder, or they can choose one from the already saved replay library, where already uploaded matches are organized and can be reviewed later on. Right here, after selecting a replay, the page opens into a more detailed review breakdown. At the top, mechanic grades give a quick summary of how the player performed across different areas. Below that, there's the 3D replay viewer, which shows the actual context, match context, while on the right side, there's the event panel list, where users can go through a timeline and be able to see all the mechanical events throughout the whole game, or they can just group them by the mechanic themselves. You see here, start the replay, and then it pauses at a specific event, shows the mechanic name, which is the kickoff, and a short explanation of why exactly it gave it that grade of good, neutral, or bad. This is where the project moves from general stats into more evidence-based feedback. Right here, another example where you can choose exactly from the mechanic list what specific event you want to look at in the replay, and then it again goes to that event. So you can simply say that this connects replay sessions to more coachable moments. Then there's the improvement tab. Instead of focusing on one match, this page looks across replay history. On the top, it shows replays analyzed, your latest score, and your overall trend. If you see here, every graph, it shows a red trend. Apparently that means I'm getting worse. The chart shows trends for overall performance and individual mechanics so the player can see patterns over time. You can also go to the individual little cards there and tap into a specific replay, and then it organizes it by the specific mechanical event from that specific replay. You can also, this kind of helps users be able to see what went wrong and what specific mechanics they need to improve. This is the train tab, which is where analysis becomes more actionable. After Rocket Coach identifies weaknesses from replay data, the goal is to create recommended targeted drills and use the local bridge to launch practices. This is one of the most pieces I'm most excited about because it connects a web dashboard back to the actual game environment. So here you can see that we clicked on wanting to train the mechanic 50-50 control, and it spawns us in an actual Rocket League game where we can train this mechanic against a specific bot. You can do this for all the mechanical events, for all of the mechanics, but it focuses on the top 3 that you need to improve on. That is the main shift that Rocket Coach is trying to create. Normally a player loses a game, guesses what went wrong, and practices random training packs. With Rocket Coach, the flow becomes you lose a game, upload the replay, review the evidence, and practice that specific weakness that showed up in the match. The overall goal of Rocket Coach is simple. Every replay should make the next match smarter. Future improvements would include better detection accuracy. As Rocket League mechanical events, you need a lot of context surrounding that. More mechanic categories, and a deeper progress tracking. In the end, Rocket Coach turns replay review from passive watching into an active improvement loop. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Any questions from the audience? Sure. Oh, was there another question here? Oh, sorry. I guess so.
Has this made you better at Rocket League?
I hope so. I've actually have been using it a lot, just because obviously I put a lot of time into this game in general, and by using the tool, you can definitely see how how certain habits and bad habits that I've developed over time while playing the game have improved, especially because beforehand you would just kind of be like, oh, I think I'm bad at this, and then you kind of just practice it on your own. But because in the game there's actual training packs you can do where you can just for example, if you want to work on saving a ball from going in your goal, you can save that ball, and the training pack will be like, oh yeah, you saved it, but then the ball's right in front of your goal, where if you were in a real game, someone would just score right afterwards. And that's why I wanted to make it so you can train against actual bots, because those bots will punish you if you end up doing that. So you have to, really do it from an actual game-like point of view instead of just doing that, one tiny thing. So overall, I think it has been helping me with specific things, and I actually hope to release this later on, do more work on it, so I can try to help other people as well. Yeah.
Briefly, can you talk about some of the iterations you made on the UI as you went through it?
Yeah, so UI was thanks to you, Dan. Yeah, don't worry about it. But there's a lot of UI changes, especially with the actual project I wanted to do. Going into this, my project was to have users be able to create their own Rocket League AI bot through reinforcement learning. But then Dan pointed out to me that that's cool, but who exactly is it going to help? So that's why I kind of went to this, especially seeing how me and a lot of my friends and family play this game, and I wanted to create something that can make you better later on. So especially for UI, creating those different tabs like the training tab, improvement tab, replay, and overview. that took a lot of work and a lot of talking with Dan as well. And overall, there was a lot of changes, kind of make it a easier user flow for new users and also returning users as well. So it's less of a, let me just click on stuff and guess what it is I need to do, and more of a, okay, I can actually look at this and know what to do from the get-go.
All right. One last question, and then we'll move on.
If I wanted to get this onto my computer, how would I be able to do so? Like if I wanted to use it for my Rocket League?
Yeah, so right now it's actually deployed right now on a website. Right now, I probably should have put it on there, but it's developed on a website. Right now, it's being hosted on a physical server here on campus, but later on I actually want to get it through AWS and other cloud services, so I can get it hosted on there as well. I bought a domain, so it's going to be developed later on in the actual, it's already developed or deployed on the website, but I wanted to get it deployed on a website so I can continue this later on. So you just go to the website, and then you can, go to your replays, upload your replay files, and then also, I didn't go through this because it's not a very big tab, but right below this tab, there's the one called Installer. That's where you would you download an installer that downloads all the dependencies for the project, and then from there you can verify them, and then you should be able just to train against the bot right through there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for everything.
What's up, guys? I'm also gonna start with a quick video.
Imagine this. You're invited to a conference hosted by Westmont College, and you have one mission: network. But who do you talk to? Out of hundreds of attendees, how do you find the people who matter most to you? Let's look at how not to do it. You don't want to end up like this guy, talking to the wrong people. And you don't want to end up like this guy, not even knowing who to talk to. Thank goodness for Web Connects, because a new feature is coming out just for this. Introducing Nexus. Nexus is a RegFox feature that analyzes every attendee's registration data, for example, their role, industry, and background, and builds you a personalized must-meet list. The day before the event, it lands in your inbox. 5 people chosen specifically for you. A founder gets matched with an investor, a recruiter gets matched with a job seeker. Not just people like you, people who have to meet you. To enable this tool, speak with a WebConnects admin who will help add it to your organization's beta features. After that, all you have to do within the WebConnects page builder is turn on the Nexus networking feature. You will also see some recommended fields to improve the matching functionality. Once your event start date hits, the emails get sent automatically. No more walking in blind. No more missed connections. Nexus turns your registration data into your competitive advantage before you even walk through the door.
Sick. What's up, guys? Thanks for being here and watching all of our presentations on what we've been working on the past semester. My name's David Ponce de Leon, and the project I've been working on is called Nexus, which is a feature for one of WebConnects' products. And before we kind of get into what my project is, I would like to sort of start how I got connected to WebConnects, how this project came about. So let's talk about WebConnects first. So WebConnects is a ticketing slash software or ticketing slash registration software that has many Westmont connections, and I was connected to them through CatLab. And if you don't know what CatLab is a Westmont program in which Westmont hires students to give them a proper job experience while the students also work to enhance the school's technological systems. And thanks to this privilege, I actually have been working for WebConnects for the past year, and because of that, I have been able to go on work retreats. So as you can see here, I'm sitting around the campfire, smoking some cigars, and at this event, I pull Eric aside. Eric is the CEO of WebConnects, and I'm like, yo, Eric, give me a project to do for senior seminar. And he's like, yo, David, do this matching thingy for RegFoc attendees. I'm like, all right, bet. And so that's kind of how Nexus was born. So Nexus is a feature for RegFox customers who host professional networking events. And at these events, you sign up with your name, your company, job title, maybe a short bio, and all this data is stored, but none of this data is really being used properly. And so that's kind of what this feature sets out to tackle. So let's actually talk about how it works. So first off, we need data. We need people to register for the event and sign up. And after that, and here is a pretty basic RegFox form in which you can see a couple fields like the company, job title, industry, etc. And then after that, so this is like the real meat and potatoes of what's going on. So first, each attendee, I take their bio, job title, company, and interests and combine them into a single paragraph of text that describes that person professionally. And then I run through that text through an AI model called a sentence transformer, and that converts it into a list of numbers. And then, so it sort of acts like a fingerprint. And then people with similar fingerprints are most likely to be similar people. And they're most likely to have like a lot in common. But similarity alone isn't always what makes a great networking connection. An investor and a startup founder don't have really similar backgrounds, but they absolutely should meet. So on top of the similarity math, I added a layer of smart rules. If the system detects one person is a founder and another is a venture capitalist, it boosts that pair's scores regardless of how different their fingerprints look. So the same idea works for recruiters and job seekers, or senior mentors and junior engineers. So the final score is a weighted blend of all the signals. Then for each person, the top 5 matches that each person gets, they get packaged into a personalized email and sent out automatically the night before the event, which you can see here. Now, I guess let's talk about the next steps. So, first off is feature lock, so the next steps are feature lock and then getting this feature into the hands of customers. So feature lock is super helpful because it allows us to enable this feature for only select customers. This is useful for beta testing or for features that only some customers need. And then once that is enabled, I would have my project manager reach out to some WebConnects customers who host professional networking events and then be like, hey, there's this new feature that came out. Would you like to use it? And then hopefully they would begin using it, giving us feedback, and see what more could be added on top of it. The next thing that isn't really mentioned here is profitability. How can we profit off of this feature? So like every time emails get sent for every event, like we can charge based on the attendees, we can charge like a flat 99-cent fee, and that is another thing that we can also add on top of this. And that's pretty much all I got. Thanks.
Okay, and do we have any audience member questions? Okay.
I'm curious what type of data sets you used during like the development and testing of it. Did you have access to like actual customer data to run your algorithms through, or or did you generate it, and what did that look like?
Yeah, so every developer for WebConnects has like a clone of production databases. So I had all the tables I needed. I just needed to populate them. So I just created a Python script to populate just a bunch of fake data so that I can run my algorithms on.
How do you like do the math to like, or whatever's going on in the back end to decide like what rules are like complementary to each other? Because I saw like a few like obvious cases there, but
yeah,
is like what's going on in the back end, can it work with like something that hasn't been, like a role that hasn't been present at an event before?
Like a role that...
I don't know, I guess my main question is like what's going on in the back end to like decide those matchups in terms of how complementary they are?
Just like a lot of strings. It's like groups of strings that kind of get taken from the registration data and be like, okay, these this gets matched into this investor group, or this gets matched into like a startup group. And so basically it's just based on that, if that answers your question at all.
All right, thank you, David.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Elise. I'm a data analytics student, and I'm going to start with my video first. Just a second. Sorry. Sorry, it's not connecting.
You can go ahead and proceed without the video, Elise.
Or the slides?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, again. Okay. Well, trust it was a really great video. So yeah, my app is called Investish, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So first I want to start a little bit about how I came up with this idea. This is me and my brother. His name is Chase. He's about 6 years older than me. And since before I can remember, he's been instilling in me how important
money is and finances are and how just like important it is to stay in that world. It's kind of like that joke that is kind of always running, where it's like your dad is sitting at the kitchen table with you, teaching you math, like, till you cry. It's pretty much that, but with my brother in finances. So before I can remember, he's always been like, you need to, like, look at this website, read this book, and it used to really annoy me, but as I've gotten older, I've been really thankful for it. So when coming up with my senior project idea, I knew I wanted to do something along those lines. And when I came to college, I noticed there was a lot of students that wanted to get into that world of investing, but they didn't really know where to start. So my idea with my app is to kind of bridge the gap between people who want to start but don't know how, and that whole intimidating world of just money and finances. So in comes my app. It's called Investish. The overall idea is that it is beginner-friendly investing financial literacy app for everyone. Everyone can use it, even if you know everything and you just want to brush up. You can totally use it. I had 3 main goals for my app. 1, beginner-friendly. Anyone can start. I'd say the lowest age range is probably like high school. But yeah, it's open for everyone. It's a literacy app, so my inspiration was kind of like Duolingo-style learning. I want you to walk away with something. And then lastly, it's low pressure. It's just about building your confidence and having fun. So those were my 3 main goals. When starting this, I wanted to research other investing apps. So I noticed 3 main things about each of these apps that I wanted to not include in my app, my competitors, if you will. So 1, they all assume you know some kind of prior knowledge, which is pretty unfair. There's some big words that I don't even know, even though I feel like I'm pretty well-versed in this world. So a lot of prior knowledge. Money, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a lot of money most of my college journey, so I don't want anyone to have to like pour into this app financially. And then also, it just can be like super chaotic. A lot of those apps are just article after article, paragraph after paragraph, and it's just like, it's very intimidating. It's like a lot. So I just didn't want to have any of that. So in comes my app. It kind of stinks because the video really walked through it. So I'll just briefly walk through a little bit of it. First, the setup is super easy. You just need your name, a username, your email, and then you make a password, and then you could choose a little character avatar that will stay with you for the rest of the app. There are 10 total levels with topics ranging from risking reality to diversification to taxes, kind of everything, but there's only 10 levels. Yeah. And then after each level, I have a little reinforcement game. The goal of the reinforcement games is that they're super, super simple and easy to the point where you're like, why am I doing? Like, why am I putting bananas in baskets? The point is to like dumb down these super complex topics to make it stick with you, hopefully longer. And then lastly, the game tab. This is probably the most time-consuming tab. The games are a lot longer than the levels, and they're a little bit more complex. And there's also simulations where you can pretend to invest in the stock world for like years, or you can pretend to be a business owner. And then some of the games are multiplayer games, and some of them are single-player games. And then lastly, you can add friends, and you can play the games with your friends. It's kind of like chess games where like you make a move, you make a move. It's not live, but yeah, that is kind of like a really brief run through of the app. My tech stack, I use React Native and Expo. I wanted to use something that was very user-friendly, and I used this before working on the Westmont mobile app, and I knew it was a really streamlined process, and I used TypeScript for it. And then for all of my data storage, I use Firebase authentication and Firestore. And then in the future, I would like to make more than 10 levels. I feel like there's so many more like topics that I could keep going on. I just felt like 10 was good for the semester's work. And then also, I would love to keep working on the games. I feel like I'm not a really like creative person. So teaming up with someone that is a really creative person and then just coming with ideas together, we can make some really cool games and make that tab a lot more fun. And then, yeah, if you want to try my app, it's not on the App Store, but if you want to be a part of testing, you can try it out up there. So, yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Any audience questions? Also, let's try the video one more time. I'm guessing maybe if we relaunch this. There we go, and then this. Okay. Let's give that a go. Okay, any audience questions while we're trying to figure this out? Over here, thank you.
Yeah, it looks like an awesome project. My one question I had was like the investment simulation part, where you can like kind of like do like basic like investments. Like, how do you kind of engineer that and kind of get like a strategy for like basically like what the numbers turn into like over time, and just basically like just like number like projections and just kind of like guessing like what those investments could like turn into.
Yeah, totally. The simulation was kind of hard because like it's impossible to predict something like the stock market. So it's all very dramatized versions of things that have actually happened. So it's all made from like past data. The way it works is these like time jumps of like plus a couple months, like, oh no, there's like a news alert that like your supplier like is protesting. Do you want to pull out your stock? Do you want to pour more into your stock? And then you make a decision, and then it like something happens. So it's all based on like past events that have actually happened, and then you just kind of follow the timeline over a time period.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Elise. And for the students who may have the video issues like this, go ahead and Slack me your videos so that I have a backup, and do the same. We'll see if we can come back to it. All right.
Oh, wait, actually, Revit, is it on AirPlay right now? Yep, switch it to that. Oh, and was it 103 or 102? Cool. All right, I'm going to start with my video.
Ever found yourself making an improvement?
2 times speed. Spooky. How did that happen? Right.
When cooking from an online recipe, have you ever had to deal with endless pop-ups before actually finding the recipe? Or have you ever found yourself making and improving recipes but unable to share them with the world? Introducing Recipedia, the recipe book made with you in mind. Find recipes easily with a quick keyword-based search system. Rate and comment on recipes you enjoy. Be in touch with other home cooks like you. Add the recipes you love so others can love them too. And freely edit any recipe. At Recipedia, there is no ownership. We're all here to work together to create the highest quality recipes. No ads, no pop-ups, no funny business. You don't have to settle for okay anymore. Bring your best, find the best. Be a part of the Recipedia project. Make your account for free today.
Okay. My name is Davis Peterson, and my project is called Recipedia. Let me tell you a little bit more about it. So basically, this project came from a few ideas that I was kind of percolating on this past year. First of all, this past year was the first time that I was kind of cooking for myself. I live in the GLC. I've been off the meal plan the whole year. But kind of before that time, if you would have asked anyone, you probably would have gotten mixed answers on how good of a chef or a cook I was. If you talk to my mom, she probably would have said I throw my dishes in the sink every time and that they magically vanish every time and get cleaned somewhere somehow. But this past year, I spent a lot of time learning how to cook for myself, learning how to find new recipes, kind of techniques and all that, and make fun things. And where do I get cool recipes from? I got them from online. And online recipes are a very interesting space. You can get a whole slew of things. You can get mom blogs, which are this just massive scroll pages littered with ads and search engine optimization and all these rating systems and all this crazy stuff. Or you can go to All Recipes and get like a nice, simple looking recipe, but it still has pop-ups and it still doesn't give you the ability to improve upon it. You're just kind of reading something, and if you make improvements, you just keep them in your own heart, but you don't get to bring them to the world. And so there's a third part of this that I want to also consider when working on this project. It's Wikipedia. Wikipedia is something everybody knows about. It's this website that kind of magically works collaboratively, where people are bringing information in together kind of out of their own volition, and somehow it has worked. I think back when we were in elementary school, people dissed on Wikipedia saying, you cannot trust it. It is not a good place. But it stood the test of time, interestingly. This open source kind of collaborative space where people are bringing things that they found to be true and good and putting it in one spot, and it's held on. And so before I go a little bit more into this presentation, I want to give you all just another quick look as to what this project looks like. So if I open this link here, this is my recipe website called Recipedia. Here, you'll find a lot of things, okay? You'll find the search bar that you saw earlier, and you'll also be able to dig through and find lots of recipes. You're like, ooh, what's going on with this double chocolate biscotti? When you look at it, you see the recipe all right there. You see comments. You see a way to like things. But one of the most important parts that I put, is kind of the big part of what makes this all work, is you're just able to edit anything. You don't have to ask for someone else's permission to edit a recipe. If I made this double chocolate biscotti recipe and I'm like, hold up, I used a full stick of butter, okay? We need that whole thing, okay? I can put it in there and I can edit it, okay? And people can look back on past edits and be able to continue to make improvements. Like, the more recipes are used and edited, the better they will get. And that's really cool. We've seen it with Wikipedia, and we could see it with recipes as well. And so I'm just going to close this. But this is basically one big cookbook that anybody can add to and anybody can edit. I put in a bunch of recipes myself, and I found it to be really cool, and I've actually started using it myself for my own recipes, because I'm tired of going to those recipe websites and having to have my ad block run on like 4 gigabytes of RAM just so I can look at a recipe. And so I want to bring you all to kind of where this project will be going as well. I should probably also present this. And so what am I looking forward to in the future of this project? Because I'm actually pretty proud of the work I've done. And yeah, there are more features I want to add. There are more things I think that would make this project even better. But I think there's a few things in particular that I'm really looking forward to in the future. First is the user base. Second, user base. Third, user base. I think what separates my project currently from my hopes of it being like Wikipedia is an active community of people who are contributing to it. If Wikipedia was as it was with just one person, it would not work. One person can't have all that information in their heads. But I see a crowd of people who have cooked before, who are cooking regularly, and are just all amateur chefs. We're not professionals. We're not people who are paid with teams of people to take really fancy photos of everything. We cook and we make things better daily. Maybe some of us are just doing ground beef, rice, and broccoli, but maybe you're doing it really freaking well and you want to tell people how you're doing it. Or maybe you're doing really fancy things and you found out easy ways to do it so that people making ground beef, rice, and broccoli can do it too. This website was not made for me. It was made for everyone. It's made for people to engage with and do really cool things. And so while I have things I want to roll out, the biggest thing I'm looking for is more people to use it. And so with this little call to action, that's a QR code. you are free to scan it if my head is not in the way. But my hope is that people would start using this website. I'm going to keep it running after graduation. I might even put a better link than the one I've got going right now, because I know I've got at least one friend who wants to continue to do it with me. But if I've got a few more, that'd be pretty sweet too. So I think I'm just going to leave it there. That's my project. That's what I've been working on. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions? Yes. For your plans for the future, have you thought into like how more popular recipes can be found easier? Because I know a lot of like recipe sites, what's really frustrating is not knowing whether or not it's actually a popular or good recipe, and if someone just put it on there and like, oh, hey, let's try it. Have you had thoughts on that, or how you would do that?
A little bit, yeah. Something that I'm doing differently than other recipe websites is kind of like the main driving feature for those very commercialized websites are those 5 stars, you know? It's like, 4.9 stars with like 10,000 reviews. It must be decent. But even then, you'll find people in the comments saying, this is how I did it better. What I've done for my recipe website is, instead of doing stars, I've done a little heart-based system where it's a simple binary click. You either like it or you don't. You're either invested in this recipe and you want to see it improve, or you're not. And so currently, all that does is it just saves it for you, and you can hold on to that recipe and use it. But other future things I would love to roll out are for those who are further invested in the recipe website or in the recipe itself, that little heart can also maybe turn into like a little notification thing, so people can be updated on what updates are happening. But right now, it's basically simple. You either love a recipe or you don't.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave this one here on while we're around here.
For a lot of open source websites and stuff like that, a big deal is moderation. Wikipedia is able to get around this by having like a very dedicated core base. Here at the beginning, there's a lot more risk to that at your thing not having that level of moderation quite yet. How do you plan on keeping a level of moderation to it, especially at the beginning?
That is a very good question. Right now, to start, I have limited accounts to only emails that come from @westmont.edu. Westmont folks are pretty good. And I'm also still able to custom add people who don't have a Westmont email. But for this early rollout, I think that will do a lot of good, because I think Westmont people are generally good. Secondly, though, I already have 1 or 2 friends who are curious about moderation. One who is going to be adding recipes to this website with me over this next summer. So I have at least one other person who's semi-dedicated to just making sure things are rolling well, because he's invested in the website as well. But for further rollout, my dream would be that this website would be open for anyone of any email, but I think it's going to take more of a user base, more dedication from people who are interested in this website to keep that going. It has all the features available, it just needs people.
Any other question? Yes, no more.
Yeah, it's a super sweet park. I would totally use it. Is there any way to, like, let's say I have like my favorite recipe that's on like Food and Wine, and I visit it so often, and it's so annoying because all the ads are there like all the time. Is there a way to just like immediately import that entire recipe into the site instead of having to like almost like copy and paste it or just like manually type it in? Like, is there a way to just like take the link and just put the whole thing in?
As of right now, no. But that is something that's been brought to me a few times, and I think what's really funny about all those like blog-esque recipe websites is that they all use the same exact darn format, and I've thought about it a lot, and I don't imagine it would be too difficult for me to find an automatic way of doing it. All that code is written in HTML. They use HTML tags, and they're probably using the same darn ones for all those websites because they're the same template. And so currently, no. Currently, we're just running on a copy and paste into like a Google Doc-esque thing. But once you do it once, you're good. But that's something I want to work on, and it sounds kind of fun to do too.
Thank you. All right. Before we call the next presenter up, let me see if we can do a catch-up of the video that we missed earlier, but thank you, Davis. All right. And for the folks who have joining us, please, there are seats available, so please feel free to come up.
People just know how to deal with money. Like, everybody's talking about investing.
Okay, we could do that. I mean, this should work, right? There's no reason why it wouldn't.
Front, left.
Sure.
And I have no idea how to do that. What part of it?
Yeah, it's here, just really quiet. Okay, all right. Let's see.
I don't know how people just know how to deal with money. Like, everybody's talking about investing, and I have no idea how to do that.
What part of it is so confusing for you? Like, have you done any research?
Yeah, I've tried, and I just end up going down a rabbit hole and getting really confused and give up. Like, I literally have 62 cents in my bank account right now.
Ooh. Well, I did find an app that was able to help with that. I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Really?
Yeah. So this is Investish. It's for people who feel like they should understand money, but honestly just don't know where to start. The lessons are broken down into really simple topics, like how the stock market works, what risk actually means, and things like ETFs, long-term investing, and just building better financial habits. So instead of everything feeling overwhelming, it actually starts to just make sense. Once you make your profile, you move through the app in levels. And after each one, there's a really quick, simple game that helps reinforce what you just learned before moving on. There's also a game tab where you can jump into scenarios anytime, so you can keep practicing without it feeling stressful. Overall, it's just meant to be a very simple approach, very user-friendly, and I think it would be very helpful for you.
Wow, I think I'm actually getting this.
Yeah, you a quick learner.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's super easy.
Yeah, I feel like I can actually start now. Yeah.
Are you locked in at the gym? A Westmont athlete? Or even just a Richie's regular? Then Yummy is for you. Quick post-workout snack? For eating at the DC. Find and log your meals instantly. Or scan your foods directly. See your progress in real time. No guessing, just progress. Fuel smarter. We'll handle the rest. So fast, so simple, so yummy.
Yes, everyone, Westmont finally has its very own nutrition tracking system. Surrounding meals served right here at our very own, it's not working. Let's try this. What the heck happened? What happened? I can't click anything. Wait, Isaac, could you, this is yours. Let's close this. Yeah. I want to say it's something with like, because like, see this works for me. Mm-hmm. Is it? This is quite real. You sent it to me, right? Yeah, on email. On email? Yeah. Sorry, dude. No, you're good. Wait, let me get my... Oh, it's working now. Oh, yeah. You want to just use it? Yeah. Thank you. There we go. Yeah. All right. Start again. All right. Yes, Westmont finally has its very own nutrition tracking system, surrounding meals served right here at our very own DC. Now, I'm sure you guys have lots of questions like, how does it work? Or what does Yummy offer? Or why should you use it? Well, to answer all those questions, we'll have to start from the beginning. So there I was back in 2022 as a freshman in Page. I was eating my cold simple chicken out of my to-go box. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that I had to eat whatever's considered protein and not really care about anything else. Since then, I really learned everything there is to know about nutrition, and I pinpointed exactly where I was physically, what I want to achieve, and I created an exact outline to guarantee that I keep myself accountable and I reach that goal. And I did, you know? But here's the best part. You guys don't have to know or learn how to do any of that because Yummy makes it super simple. Yummy takes you through a super quick and intuitive assessment that explains to you at each step why exactly your biometric data matters, even the more personal sensitive stuff, and it's transparent throughout the entire process. You just have to plug in where you're at, where you want to go, and boom, you got a fully personalized nutrition plan ready to use on campus. Now, don't worry, Yummy isn't just a nutrition plan generator. As the trailer promised, as soon as you log onto your dashboard, you'll have access to a variety of menus, obviously including Richie's and the DC, but also restaurants that might be in the area or even custom meals that you want to manually save yourself. From there, you just choose a menu and you just start browsing. Menus are categorized into sections, and each item is listed with its name, serving size, and nutritional information. Of course, you can adjust the serving size based on your portions. Then all you have to do is click on an item, see how it affects your progress, and then you can add it to your daily intake. From there, Yummy's Smart Suggestions feature gives you recommendations based on campus available foods, based on whatever you're lacking the most that day. Now, Yummy isn't just an educational tool, it's also an accountability tool. Using the logged calendar feature on Yummy, you can track however many days that you've been on track, as well as go back to whatever food that you've eaten and logged in the past. And that little circle in the top right of the calendar is the Yummy score, which you guys can think of as a lifetime consistency score. And using that number, you can add friends and keep your friends accountable as well. Now, what makes Yummy an all-encompassing nutrition app is that it's not just restricted to foods that are available here on campus. So using Base44's Invoke LLM feature, I was able to use a camera to just scan your foods directly and add it to your daily intake. Of course, I didn't want Yummy to just be working for any food, but also for any person, whether you know anything about nutrition or not. So what's next for Yummy is Yummy.ai, which will be a chatbot where you could just, which will serve as a personal nutritionist, guiding you through your diet based on, or within the context of how you eat. And a quick overview, technical overview of Yummy. Yummy is a full-stack JavaScript app built entirely using Base44's backend as a service platform. Base44 uses React and Vite for the front end and handles everything from authentication systems to data storage directly on the platform itself. The reason that I chose this route for development was because as a single developer, I was able to have more time to focus on the UI components as well as more intentional UX design choices. Shout out to Dan Schenk. And just have more time to just think about the marketing strategies as well and approach Yummy as not just a project, but as a product. So why should you use Yummy? Well, to be honest, over the last 6 years, I kind of just got jacked. And I learned a lot through trial and error, and looking back, a platform like Yummy would have been so helpful and saved me months, maybe even years of progress. And nutrition tracking, or diet, is everything when it comes to how you look, how you perform, and how you feel. And that's not a secret. So I'm not going to stand here and lie to you guys that Yummy is this new innovative thing, because it's not. But what it is doing is it's filling a gap. Nutrition tracking is important, and Westmont doesn't have a system for it, so I built one. Now, Yummy may just be one of many iterations of nutrition tracking at the Westmont DC, but it's not just any. It's the first, and it's paving the way for a population of students and faculty that could genuinely benefit from this and have been wanting something like this for a long, long time. So, join me and take a first step on making Westmont a healthier campus. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have any audience questions for Ben? Yes.
Does it change what meals is available at this DC based off the ones that are available at the DC, or is it all of the meals that are ever at the DC?
No, it is. So I could have shown you on a live demo, but maybe I can just go back here. So the today's specials, that's the DC menu. That one updates every day at the start of each day with every single meal that's going to be offered that day. And then everything below that, from the daily oasis, as you see, like simple chicken, stuff that's served every day is static and it just stays there.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
I think we can all agree when I say sometimes the DC is a little questionable with its food. Is there like a way to like per se look at how the community feels about a certain food that's on the menu for that day? Like, is the orange chicken good that day?
I didn't implement of like a rating system for it, but that is a cool feature that I would absolutely look into.
All right, thank you, Ben.
Okay, I think I'm gonna start trying to airplay. Can we try that route today? And is this one the 103? GLC 103? Okay. See that there. Got a number up here. Here. Oh boy, it's gonna make my windows all weird sized again. Okay. So let's start with the video I have here. I'll preface this by saying this video is a little bit different than the other ones. My project here is a video game, so this is going to be a lot more like a trailer. That's going to be a little bit more story-driven than feature-focused. Let's see if we can hear it. You can't.
This land used to be a sprawling metropolis. Whoever lived here and what happened to them still eludes me. They had advanced technology, powered by rhythm and music. However, we don't have that luxury. Our queen banned the research of the past civilization, saying it was their downfall. She proclaims that magic is better, but I don't believe her. The proof is right here beneath the surface. Here, my daughter and I have been studying this network of tunnels for years, uncovering the secrets behind this old tech. What's more, we've replicated it. Go forth, gnomeling. Help us clear the way. Break down obstacles. Move with the rhythm. Repair the rails. Fend off our foes.
Props to my best friend Patrick for doing the voice of the artificer for that video. Switch over here.
And Joshua, if you can talk into the microphone there.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir, I can. Okay. So this is my game. It is called The Metronome, my capstone project. I want to start out just by talking about the problem. We're asked to address a problem when creating these projects. And so what I just started by looking at was the state of the game market. A lot of things like Roblox are big. This is like the future of gaming, apparently. And that didn't exactly quite sit right with me. There's a lot of games out there right now that use a lot of AI, especially in terms of image generation and writing. A lot of games that could be considered just a waste of time, tapping buttons that don't have a meaningful message to them. And the state of the AAA market is getting a lot more expensive these days, as games are expensive. One might say this is a problem simply due to oversaturation, but I feel like no matter how big or small the market is, there are going to be a lot of people who want to play video games. So my solution here is to make a short and sweet game with a real story and artwork that I drew. Got to put my art minor to use. I wanted to have a novel concept in terms of theming and gameplay. In the case of this game, the Metronome, it is a rhythm-based platformer that incorporates rhythm a lot more indirectly, like other rhythm platformers like Geometry Dash, where the inputs that you do are not entirely bound to the beat of the music, but are instead enhanced by it. I also am looking to get into the gaming industry, and so I wanted to make a game for my project. When I approached Mike with my idea and he was super excited about it, I was so stoked. So it's been a lot of fun this semester working on this project. For the development process, I first needed to find a good game engine to build mine in. I got this MacBook is my most powerful computer I've got here, so things like Unreal were out of the question out the gate. And for the scope of my project, I thought Godot engine would be a great one to work with. Godot engine, it uses its own programming language called GDScript. It's very similar to Python, but set up for a lot more of like a super tree-based, object-oriented system with built-in functions that can be run every frame, stuff like that, just already supported. I started by trying to figure out what genre of game I wanted to make. I've had the idea brewing for a long time of a platformer where you can engage in quick time event rhythm-based battles, and I was able to get that to work here. I picked up a program, did a lot of world building. I was like, how can I integrate music into the world? I had to make lots of art and assets for this, as you'll see sprinkled throughout this slide deck presentation. I spent a lot of time level building, especially in these last few weeks as I've created all of the systems. And then got to put a little layer of polish on it last night. So everyone who's seen my placeholder assets the whole time, a lot of them are different now. So I set a bunch of goals going into this project. I wanted to make a lot of gameplay features, the rhythm combat, a station-based flow of gameplay loop. I got all of these features that I wanted made. As for the amount of levels, though, I fell short. I made about 2/3 the amount of levels as I wanted for my OKRs. I did a lot of artwork, but I was not able to get the game out for release just yet. But that is going to be coming very soon. That goes in reverse. What the heck happened there? Okay. So, in terms of release, I've got a Steam developer account and a key to get it up there very soon. But in the meantime, I'll be uploading it to a website called itch.io, where you should be able to play it in your browser. For the future, I want to get the rest of my levels built before I can put it up, build a boss fight in there, new abilities, polish and decoration, and then hopefully launch it on Steam. My video did not get very into it, so hopefully I'll have some time to do a real quick demo at the end of this presentation so you can see what I'm talking about. But first, I do want to do a couple special thanks. Thanks to Professor Mike Ryu and Dan Shank for leading this class and being open for advice throughout the semester. Thank you to my classmates for supporting my project and giving me feedback in the weekly challenges. I want to thank the Extended CS department as well, specifically naming Dr. Guang Song for his constant support throughout my 4 years here at Westmont. And the art department as well. I also want to name Professor Scott Anderson for inspiring me to continue illustrating and being creative. My friends and family. Let me move things over real quick to a demo so I can show you more of what this game has to offer. Boot it up right here. When you boot it the first time, we'll ask you what your name is to make the save. We'll just say we are Gnome. You've seen that already. So here's our little guy. The audio has not come in yet, but that is okay. There we go. So you are a little gnome who gets to run around this metro system, basically uncovering the secrets of the past world that left it behind. You can talk here. I set up little quests. Talking to Rosie specifically, you can interact with characters. I'm just going to do this quick little task and then we'll move over to questions. But there are so many things that I've built in to get the players used to learning the controls and the setup for the game. It was a challenge to work with the lower level number of levels to give them time to actually interact with all the mechanics that we got going here. So, yeah, there we go. That is my part. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. Do we have any audience member questions? Private?
First of all, Josh, great work, amazing. I saw earlier in the slide deck there was like a little training dummy kind of thing.
Yes.
Is that a feature where you just can like practice with the beat of the music and the rhythm of it and not like kind of practice the fighting with that?
Yeah, in one of the stations further down the road, you're going to be presented, it's the introduction to the combat system of the game. The artificer tells you, hey, I set up some training dummies around here, and I want you to go clear them all for me before I let you go any further. And so that, I think, is the way that I introduced that combat system. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. And little second parter. You said earlier also one of the problems is expensive games, which is very true. When you get it released on Steam, will there be a price point, or will you just be releasing it?
That's a good question. I think this is mainly a portfolio piece for me, so I would like not to put a price point on it, mainly to make it just accessible for anyone to play and try it out, especially since it's not like a fully fledged finished game. But in the future, I'd love to make more games. Maybe if I make a sequel, that will.
Very cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, another question.
Seeing that this is your first video game, what are you most proud of that you've done so far?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Thank you. I am most proud of. I'm most proud of the gameplay loop that I was able to establish, making all of the levels feel different and progressively introducing new mechanics and then tying it all together at the end. So gameplay flow, I think, is what I'm most proud of, and you'll all have to play it to find out.
All right, one last question, and we'll move on.
Hi, Josh. What drew you to make it like a rhythm-based game?
That's a good question. I actually don't have much of a background in playing rhythm-based games. It was something that fascinated me, and it was mainly due to the fact that so many of them are like based on like super complicated, fast rhythm reaction times. I wanted to make a platformer that integrates those elements in a way that is a little bit more accessible to people who are not super into those heavy rhythm-packed games. And I have settings to speed it up or slow it down really as much as you'd like as well. Yeah, that was my inspiration. Thank you. All right.
Hello, my name is Connor, and I developed a March Madness draft website where players can compete against their friends and family in a March Madness fantasy tournament. And here's a little video to demonstrate what that's like.
Every year, over 10 million people tune in to watch March Madness, and roughly 75 million participate in the traditional bracket challenge. But what if there was a more exhilarating way to follow along? Now there is, introducing the March Madness Tournament Draft. A new way to experience the thrill of March Madness, where you become your own fantasy tournament general manager. When you arrive at the website, start by creating an account and signing in. From there, you will enter a pool. You can join an existing one or create your own. The other players in your pool, friends, family, whoever you invite, become your competitors. Everyone is fighting for the same thing, the most points, and whoever has the most wins. So how do you score points? It all starts with drafting teams. Inside your pool, you will find the team selection page. Here, you are given a set budget to spend on the teams you want on your roster. Choose wisely, because once your money is spent, there is no going back. Your picks stay hidden from other players until the tournament begins, so no need to worry about anyone copying you. Now, let the tournament begin. Cheer for your teams and watch them earn you points with every win. The deeper they go, the more points they score for you. Track your standing on the bracket and leaderboard page. And if you want to see what your path to victory looks like, use simulation mode. Click any bracket position, enter a hypothetical result, and see how it plays out. Are you ready? Let the madness begin.
Step up the swag when I step on a bro. $2 a hand. Ooh, that's the cheapest one. Stacking these hundreds up. Like coupons. Told you from up again. Upper echelon. I get the stacking up. I'm untouchable. I get to represent. Money multiple.
Sweet. So that's a little recap of my project. And now I'm kind of going to get into the development of it. So one of the challenges that I had, well, first going to the inspiration, I wanted to do this project partly because my dad had developed a draft tournament decades ago that he would host with his friends and family. Every year around March, he'd have them over to our house. They would all sit around in a circle and basically bid on teams. I would sneak out since it was past my bedtime to hide under the table and watch as they would do this draft, maybe sneak a slice of pizza. And it was something that I kind of aspired to being a part of. And when I got into high school, I was allowed to join, and my dad basically told me that a dream that he had was to build this into a website so that he could play with people around the world since some of his friends had moved. Especially COVID really got this, moved this forward in his priority list, and me starting to take some computer science classes, he was like hopeful maybe one day I'd be able to do it as well. So that was my inspiration. Now getting to the development of the project. One of the challenges that I faced was working on the UI for the bracket. Because of how big it is to have all 64 teams and show the sectioning of the different regions and how they will match up against one another, it was hard to build it in a way that would encapsulate all of that information while also making it seamless for the user to be able to scroll up and down and view the essential parts that they needed to see, like the leaderboard. I had originally had the leaderboard at the top of the page, and then the user would have to scroll down to see the bracket, which was just a lot of scrolling, especially when you sometimes just want to quickly check what teams are in a specific spot and who they're about to play. And I also had it set so that there was some horizontal scrolling to view both sides of the bracket, which just added 2 levels of scrolling, which wasn't great. And so after talking to my professor, Dan, he gave me some insights as to different ways I could try to combat this issue. And so I experimented with a couple of these different solutions and landed on having the leaderboard within the bracket window and also getting rid of the horizontal scrolling and zooming out a little bit so that it could all be viewed at once. One of my favorite features to work on was simulation mode. This was something that I deeply wanted to make as a part of my website because of my experience playing my dad's tournament. In Excel, he had these Excel sheets that you could input different teams and who they beat, and then that would update the leaderboard in Excel to see who was like winning, who had how many teams left. And that was something I always loved doing because it gave me insights as to, okay, which teams do I really need to win this next round? Who do I want to move forward? And kind of just gave me some more like spirit to cheer for the teams as I watched different sports games. And so I wanted to implement this and made it possible that users could input the different teams into their boxes to see who would win each game and then how that would affect the points and the teams moving forward. And then some of the feedback that I received on this project was a few UI enhancements where the bracket itself, it's pretty bland, black and white, not too much going on. It would be nice to have some more color, maybe team logos involved in those bracket slots, which would also make it better and more visible to view the different teams that are playing each other. If you recognize the logo, it's very easy to just say, oh yeah, that's where that team is. So that's one thing that would help the website a lot and I hope to implement. And then another piece of feedback I received from several people that I also wanted to implement and did not have enough time this first time around was draft analytics, basically creating different metrics that would allow users to get a quick glance at different value systems of the teams involved. So one of these metrics could be the points to dollars ratio spent on a team. if you saw in the demo how you spend a specific amount of money based on the team, but you want to track like, oh, if I spent 50 cents on this weaker team and they generated me 20 points, that might be a better value proportionally than a team I spent $5 on, even if they ended up getting 30 points for me. So different analytics like that the user could just look at and kind of strategize in the future as well. By having those analytics, they can go forward and make better informed decisions. It was really fun to run the tournament this year. I had the MVP, minimal viable product, up in time for March and was able to bring in a lot of friends and family to my website to try it out this year, and it was a big hit. Got a lot of great feedback from people and really just loving reviews. So I was really glad that it worked out well and would love for many of you to try it. This is the website link if any of you want to go sign up and make an account. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. In the interest of time, we'll take one question from the audience. One question? Let's see, let's go with Dan.
How much of this was done for this, like prior to the March Madness this year? And was this app used? What feedback did you get from that?
How much had I worked on it beforehand?
Well, how much of the project was done by the time that March Madness started, and were you able to use it?
Basically, all of what I presented on today was done by the time it was made. I've made several small revisions since and tweaked a few things, but basically I had my whole product up in time for March.
Did you win?
I did not win. Nope.
All right, thank you, Connor. And I do want to acknowledge that we are running over time, so if you are able to stay for the remainder of the presenters, thank you for your attention in advance. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on.
Good. Thank you all for being here. My name is David Oyebade, and I'm a senior currently studying data analytics. And my project this semester has been Tabby, which is a personal relationship manager. To show you guys what this is, I'd like to start by showing my video. Let's try that again. Apple lied. Let's try that again. Question? Okay.
Apple lied. Let me explain. In September 2024, Apple launched a campaign for Apple Intelligence. In one of the ads, a person's at a coffee shop when they see someone walking up to them and have no idea who they are. So they ask Siri.
Siri, what's the name of the guy I had a meeting with a couple of months ago at Cafe Grinnell?
You met Zach Wingate at Cafe Grinnell.
And Siri just knows. People were so hyped, and honestly, I understand why. Because I'm the guy who forgets everything. I'm the guy who texts my sister to remind me when my brother's birthday is. I'm that guy. People waited, and nothing. So here's the thing. For people like me, people with genuinely bad memory, this isn't just a cool feature, because relationships are on the line. So I built what I needed to stay on top of my relationships. It's called Tabby. Tabby helps you remember what matters to people who matter to you. Tabby lets you capture conversations just by talking to it naturally. So I could say, had a lunch with John today. He and Sarah are expecting a baby on May 5th. He's thinking about leaving his job. Oh, and he's really into pickleball now. Tabby takes that, builds a profile for John, pulls out the details, and here's the part that Apple promised you. It puts a reminder on your calendar, so when May 5th rolls around, you see it. John's having a baby, reach out. You don't have to remember, Tabby remembers for you. The girl who told you they're starting a company? Ask Tabby. Forgot your girlfriend's favorite flavor of ice cream? Ask Tabby. Apple showed the world why this matters, but they just never built it. Remember what matters to people who matter to you.
So that final line is the real goal of this project. I know that I forget things all the time, and I feel like I'm not alone in that. So I wanted to create an app that's going to help people to remember what matters to them about the people that matter to them. When I came to college, I found my memory struggling to keep up. I'd been forgetful before, but when I came to college, it was a whole nother level. And I think part of that was I was introduced to a whole new sphere of social interaction that I'd never really been introduced to before. The British anthropologist Robin Dunbar claims that humans can maintain no more than 150 meaningful contacts. And I believe that when I came to college, I increased my number of meaningful contacts far beyond that 150, and I started to suffer as a result. And I would hope that with Tabby, I can reconcile a bit of what I'm losing, trying to keep up with so many people in my life, and possibly do the same for all of you if you use the app. So what is Tabby? Tabby is a personal relationship manager, which is really just a piece of software that's designed to help you manage your personal relationships. So how does Tabby help you manage relationships? Tabby takes information that you share about your relationships, and then it organizes that information using AI. So you don't have to go through and index all your data. It does it for you so you can find it easily. I'm going to go through a couple core features of Tabby. The first one that I'm going to talk about is data entry. So you can upload information with your voice or keyboard to create a session. Traditionally, you'd have to write into a notebook or open up a notes tab in your phone. Here you can just speak into your phone and then forget about it because all the organization is done automatically by the app. So here you can see John, my brother, is going to Mexico, and his daughter Martha is going to be celebrating her birthday on July 4th. And then the next that I want to show is person creation. So now if I go into the People tab in the app, you can see there's a person for Martha and there's a person for John, and they both have all the relevant information that I just talked about. So I didn't have to organize it. I just spoke into my phone, and it made these records for me. The next that I'd like to show is data retrieval. So now that my app knows these pieces of information, I can just ask, who's going to Mexico in July? And then it searches its database, and it can tell me that my brother John and his daughter are going there in July 2026. And it just makes it easier for me to keep track of who's in my life. The final feature that I'd like to show is calendar population. So since I referenced a date in the session that I created, it automatically creates an event in my calendar tab that says, on July 4th, John and his daughter are going to Mexico, so I know to reach out when that time comes around. So how does this all work? When a user records a session, what happens is the back end extracts entities, facts, and reference dates using AI. The data is then indexed and stored either in a Pinecone vector database or in a relational SQL database for different types of querying, so that you can either view it in the People tab or you can query yourself. This would not be possible without a number of cool third-party integrations that have allowed me to get this type of functionality. The first that I'd like to go over is my AI, which I'm using which for all my AI stuff, I'm using the OpenAI API system. I'm using Whisper for voice transcription. That's voice to text and text to voice. I'm using GPT-5o Nano for the fact extraction. And then I'm using a service called Supabase for all my storage, well, for most of my storage. Here you can store things. This is where all the relational data is kept. And then also, there's a feature where you can upload profile pictures, and those are stored there too. And then I'm using something called Pinecone, which is a vector database, which allows for quicker querying when you're asking questions like, who is it that's going to Mexico this summer? And then I'm using something called Resend for sending emails. If you make an account and you want to remember what your password was, this is the email sender that I use to do all that type of stuff. Finally, I'd like to touch on security, because I realize that security is a big part of any app that holds your personal data. The first thing that I want to talk about is authentication and access control. In my backend, it's hard-coded that every user can only access what they have put in. And that same flow is also hard-coded into Supabase itself, where users cannot access data from tables that don't belong to themselves. So you can't look into, let's say, Livingston's data if he has an account also. You can only look into yours. Also, all conversation transcripts are now encrypted fully. So if you even look into the database, there's no human-readable text. Everything is in alphanumeric hash. So if someone was to be able to get access to that database, they would have to have an encryption key that's stored elsewhere to even get access to that data. And then on the topic of access keys, All of my private keys are only stored server-side. They aren't given out to third-party integration, so all my keys are in a secure location and they're only referenced. They're not actually duplicated anywhere else. So it's pretty hard to get access to my service. And with that said, I'd love to have you guys try this app out. It's currently on the App Store. This QR code will take you right there. I'd love to get your feedback, and thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, David. We'll take one audience question if there is any. Okay.
A super important part of web development and app development is just how many clicks it takes to get to someplace. So my question is how quickly from my phone locked would it take for me to add information into Tabby?
I can try. So I'll turn off my phone. One swipe again to find the app. One click. And then start session is right there. It's the first thing you do. And then you click on start session, you speak into it, and you hit submit. So I guess 3, maybe 2. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, and I believe Isaac is our last presenter today.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming. My name is Isaac Son. Today I'm incredibly excited to announce the release of Mailbrief, an Alexa skill that I've built for my senior project. But before we dive in, let's watch the release video.
The average professional spends about 2.6 hours every day.
That's embarrassing.
The average professional spends about 2.6 hours every day just reading and writing emails. We drown in newsletters and updates, terrified of missing the few important emails. But what if you could manage your inbox without ever looking at a screen? Enter Mailbrief, an intelligent voice layer that connects your Gmail directly to Alexa. It doesn't just read your emails, it digests them, prioritizing what you need to know right now. Setup is instant. By securely connecting your Gmail account in the Alexa app, Mailbrief safely connects to your inbox in seconds. Now, you're ready to use Mailbrief. Let's try it out. Alexa, ask Mailbrief to summarize my emails.
Here's your update. Abby Lopez from Student Financial Services reminds you to settle your spring invoice in their Westmont before you can collect your cap and gown. Also, Professor Song reminds you to study diligently for finals.
Summarization is just the beginning. Mailbrief can also help you reply in existing threads or help you draft completely new messages, all in a few seconds. We're also excited to introduce 2 incredible new features, Sender Check and Code Fetch. With Sender Check, you can simply ask Mailbrief if an email from a specific person you've been waiting for has finally arrived. And with Code Fetch, Mailbrief instantly grabs one-time verification codes and reads them aloud, saving you the hassle of digging through your inbox yourself. Best of all, there's a very little learning curve. Our new intent reasoning layer harnesses the power of AI to decode your natural speech, meaning you can ditch the static commands and just talk to it like a real human. And of course, your information is completely secure. Mailbrief never stores your email data, and with built-in voice personalization, it ensures that only you can access your inbox. Mailbrief is fast, smart, and secure. Welcome to the future of your inbox. Sign up for early access today.
All right, so that's Mailbrief. And you're probably wondering, why did I build Mailbrief out of all things? Well, there's several reasons. The first is that ever since I was a kid, I kind of had a passion and like a desire for a really intelligent voice assistant, kind of like Jarvis, what you see in Iron Man. And for a long time, this just remained a dream. It was simply impossible, until the recent rise of AI. On top of that, I've also felt a lot of frustration with Alexa. It still requires static commands, and on a daily basis, I struggle to get it to turn on the lights or play white noise, just because it simply doesn't understand me. This should not be a problem in the age of AI, and this is what I set out to fix. Finally, I wanted to solve a problem that I face every day. Too often, I waste time trying to check my email or manually draft a new email, and I don't want to be distracted from deep work that I'm doing. I want to be able to perform Gmail tasks without having to actually go on my computer physically, and instead just talk to it. So how does Mailbrief work? Well, as you saw in the video, it's extremely simple. Users simply have to log in to the Alexa app, connect their Gmail account, and then you're set. Your passwords and email data are never stored. After that, talking to Alexa is easy. You simply voice your command, and it responds instantly. The best part is that you never have to use static commands. So you could say, Alexa, summarize my emails. Or you could say, Alexa, get the tea from my inbox. Mailbrief will understand both. Because of this, Mailbrief doesn't fulfill your request with one AI prompt. Instead, we use 5 different reasoning layers in order to fulfill your request. Just like it's easier to help a 5th grader solve a complex math problem by walking them through it step by step, it's a lot easier for AI to solve a problem by mapping out each step for them along the way. I don't have time to go into every reasoning layer that's shown here that we use, but we can take a look at the first one. So here you see we have the first step, which is the intent reasoning layer. And this is where we have a command passed in, and the job of this reasoning layer is to map it to one of 5 tasks that Alexa is able to do, that Mailbrief is able to do. And you might be thinking, well, this is such an easy task, like, why would we give AI, like, such a trivial task? Why don't we give it something more complex? Well, there's several reasons for that. One, we want the success rate of this task to be almost 100%. And so we want it to give AI as simple of a task as possible. Secondly, when you take into account edge cases, this task may not be as simple as you think. So let's say you're talking to Alexa, but there's a bunch of background noise, and you ask it to summarize my emails. Alexa might pick this up as summarize my emails, and if you're not careful, like this will just get confused with something else. And so in order for this to be able to summarize my emails to be translated to summarize emails, you have to have a dedicated reasoning layer just to do that. And with that, we were with that in mind, we were able to basically get this layer to be very accurate, about 97%, and it really only fails when you have phrases that are really phonetically incorrect, which are rare anyways with Alexa. In terms of future work that I plan on doing, I want to implement 2 things. One, I want to try to implement chain of thought reasoning. If you've used AI a lot, you've probably heard this term, and it's basically a strategy that you can employ to ask an AI model to explain its thinking as it's doing the task, and this does 2 things. One, it increases the likelihood of the model finding like a mistake as it's thinking, and then also it just produces better quality results in general. And then the other thing I want to do is make Mailbrief a little bit more proactive. Right now it's very reactive, and it just responds to your requests, and then that's it. But ideally, Mailbrief would one day be something that's a little bit more proactive. After you make a request, maybe it offers some suggestions. That's a next logical step, or it gives you suggestions based on like time of day or like different patterns of your use case. Of course, none of this would be possible without Professor Rio, my senior SEM class, and other early testers and users for helping me refine my product, give early feedback, and do early testing. If you want to try Mailbrief, I've made it very easy to try it on your phone and computer. You don't have to use an Alexa, and you can either scan the QR code or go to trymailbrief.com to test it. And if you do have an Alexa at home and you would like to try Mailbrief, you can also go on the website, sign up for early access, and I'll be in touch with you soon. Thank you for listening.
All right. Do you have any question for Isaac? Yep.
So you mentioned that you can sign up for early access. Does that imply that there's going to be a paid plan when this comes out? Is it going to be a paid service?
By early access, I just mean that right now I'm still going through the approval process. With that, there's 2 steps. I have to get approval from Google, and they're pretty stingy about letting people like connect their email data to Alexa. And then after that, I have to get approval from Amazon. So it's still in like kind of like a beta testing phase.
Okay, so it would be a free service when
Yeah.
you release it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I believe this concludes the presentations for 2026 senior seminar capstone presentations. I really appreciate you guys spending your precious final exam time out here. And if you are in the audience, needing to do this next year or the following years, I hope that you guys have some inspiration. And maybe I can close in prayer, just press blessing over the crowd, and then we'll dismiss. But for the students who are in my class, we're going to do a little debrief, and then we'll dismiss after. Okay, so please do remain. All right, let's pray. God, thank you for the opportunities to learn. Thank you for the opportunities to teach. Thank you for opportunities to bring into the world something that never existed before with the intellect you've given us. Would you bless everyone in the room as they finish their finals week and launch into their wonderful summer. Bless their travels. Let them be safe. And again, Lord, just give us one more day worth of mercy and grace so that we can be the salt and the light you call us to be in this world. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, thank you again so much for coming. And again, the class, let's go ahead and gather.
Bye.